episode of What We Don't Talk About.
What's up? We're back with another episode of What We Don't Talk About.
Steve-O works in the industry. I call him like a Swiss Army knife or something, because his job title between the different entities that he works for, like he just is like whatever needs to get done, call that guy, right? And on top of that, he also tour manages. On top of that, he manages artists. On top of that, he is a producer, Grammy-nominated producer. Y'all go ahead, make some noise for Steve-O. The next person I want to introduce to you, I met her in New York on the scene, just another musician grinding it out. Baritone that collected at least one Grammy that I know of. That same night, Chance the Rapper was getting in the studio and he wanted to record "You're No Problem with Me." Hey, he was recording that record. So that call went out. Baritone McKenzie caught that call. So I'm about to get out of the way. I just needed to make the introduction. But the person that's gonna facilitate all of this stuff is way cuter than me. Her voice sounds better than mine. She's way better at this than I could ever be. And her name is D. Savannah. She's a Houston artist, killing it. Hey, who did you open up for the last time?
Tank.
Opening up for Tank. This is real stuff happening right here. All right. One of my favorite songs that she got is I promise you, we're gonna see that song on a TV show. It's got to happen. What's it called? Black? Is it? Black? Yo, go check that song out. That's my favorite. Go stream the song Black by D. Savannah, baby. I'm gonna turn it over to her though. Y'all make some noise for D.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Gumbo Jim. Thank you, Mocha. Thank you to all of you who are here. Can you make some noise for yourself? My name is D. Savannah, and this podcast is called What We Don't Talk About. So I really want to thank you two for coming out from the bottom of my heart, because I started these conversations in my living room as an artist, not really knowing the direction to go all the way, especially when you feel like you hit a plateau in the city that you've come from. It's like, what's next? How can I pierce through that gate? So thank you for coming. Where are you from? Are you from Houston? Or do you live here now? Where are you in your journey?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, New York in the building.
Relocated to Dallas, Texas, so I am in Dallas now for about almost 3 years now. So.
Okay, and Steve, where are you from?
I'm from the north side. You know what I'm saying? 1962, 49.
Okay, so we got New York and Houston in the building. I love that. So talk to me about your touring, Baritone. You're touring, and what's happening as you're touring? How did you step into the Grammy-winning stage of your life? So talk to me a little bit about how all that unfolded.
It was a friend of ours. He's no longer with us. God rest his soul. James Casey. So shout out to James Casey. He met me through singing at church. So It was like a gig. Like I picked up somebody who knew me. They was like, hey, we need an extra singer. Who can come and do the gig or whatever. And he hit me up. He was like, yo, what you doing? There's a studio session coming up. I need you to, are you free? Can you pull up to the studio session? I was like, all right, cool. What is it for? Et cetera, et cetera. He was like, the producers, they were telling us about the situation. They told us what it was for. We didn't know before we got there. And it was like, hey, this is one of the songs that might go on Chance's album. So we did the song. They told us what they needed us to do. And they were like, hey, we actually need y'all to kind of reconfigure what this is. So that's where the writing came in at, you know what I mean? And the producers were really cool. They were like, hey, listen, based on what y'all already doing, we're willing to give you some publishing and all the whole nine. So
the Grammy was connected to the songwriting.
Yes, it was in the songwriting.
Can we make some noise for that? Because I know that there are a lot of songwriters, and especially here in Houston, all over the world, but I think the thing is, like, how can I step into that world of Grammys and, accepting these awards, or even the Recording Music Academy? I have no idea how to get into that. So number one, I think it's networking. It's all about who you know. So I would definitely say that if you are in a situation or in a room with people who know more than you, or who are connected in some kind of don't network with them to get something out of them, but you want to get their wisdom poured into you too. And you just never know how you two can benefit with each other. So I wanted to point that out. If I'm a songwriter and I have no idea how to get into the Grammy world, what would be those steps to set myself up to get the publishing and get those royalties on the songwriting team?
I would say for any songwriter, just straight up and down, you have to copyright your music. You have to release your music. If nobody knows your music, then you can't even submit. But aside from that, for me, right, for this particular scenario, I just so happen to be in a setting where they kind of just took care of everything. And to be honest with you, I believe, based on my faith, I believe that God was just kind of orchestrating a lot of things, you know what I mean? Because it was one of those things for me, it was just kind of, just go with the flow, understand what's going on, seek your, get counsel on your own. But this is something that's orchestrated, so just ride this wave, you know what I mean? So to answer your question further, I would also say just to make sure that you're releasing your music and making sure that you're always, putting a catalog out there, right? Increasing your catalog, making sure that you're building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you just never know.
Yeah.
Right? It was. I really didn't know. We didn't know what we were walking into, honestly. The more you're out and about, the more you kind of like have a good rapport with people, then people are going to call on you for stuff. I was not expecting that phone call.
You thought you were just doing vocals and then you ended up writing. See how it works? Gotta answer that call in the midnight hour. It's business, right?
Right, exactly.
Steve, you like you had something that you wanted to add.
No, I was just going to piggyback on what she said about the catalog. The more songs that you have, the better. You know what I mean? It's like if you're in business and you're trying to sell something, the more offers you make, the more chances somebody will spend some money with you. You know what I'm saying? But a song is like a house. It's like real estate. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have to go buy it. You can create it. You know what I mean? So continue to create your own real estate. You know what I'm saying? Never say.
Yeah. And I think a lot of artists now, we have this idea of, I'm going to just I'm going to put my all into this one song or these 3 songs and I'm going to push them out. And I got all this other music that I'm going to wait to do a project on and I'm going to do singles. It's just all this back and forth. So you're saying to have the catalog to push the music out. How important is it to plan a rollout for your music? I think sometimes that can hold artists back. Like, this video has to be perfect, the production has to be perfect, songwriting, everything has to be perfect before I give it to the world, because I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit, But as a Grammy-winning artist and as an engineer and a rapper and a tour manager, you just say release it? And how does the rollout connect with that?
I say release is better than unreleased.
Okay.
And I also say, somebody told me a long time ago, if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll never do anything.
Yeah.
So put it out, you know what I mean?
That's good.
Whether you roll out, whether you have a 3-month rollout or a 1-week rollout, you know what I'm saying? As long as you put it out there, it's better than sitting on your hard drive.
Yeah, that's good. Can we make some noise for that? That was good. You was preaching to me. So talk to me about the tour manager. How did you get into, you went from rapping to engineering, and now you're a tour manager. How did you transfer into that role?
The first way I transferred was, so there's an artist named Scarface, and I do all of his recording, right?
Okay.
And this was back like in 2014. He was about to go on tour, and he basically said, "Hey, Steve, I need you." I'm like, "What you need me to do? I'm about to go on tour. What you want me to do?" And he was like, "I want you to do my audio." You know what I mean? So I initially went on tour as an engineer. You know what I'm saying? And he had a tour manager at the time. You know what I mean? So at the time, I just sat there and I watched his tour manager and I asked him questions. What are you doing? How are you doing this? And eventually, he just started putting me on the emails. And once he started putting me on the emails, I understood more. Because the tour manager at the time didn't understand production, but I understood production when I was an engineer. So he basically told me, like, "Hey, I'm going to put you on these emails, and you're going to be the production manager."
Okay.
He was like, "So anything that has to do with audio or band or anything like that, you would answer those questions, and I'll answer everything else."
Okay.
That's how I started, like, learning what it was. You know what I mean?
What's the thing that you enjoy most about tour managing?
I like traveling. So my mom used to be a flight attendant.
Okay.
My mom from Houston. My dad is from Brooklyn. So I'm the first Blue Ivy. I've been traveling all my life. You know? So I love traveling and I love putting on shows. So if I could do both at the same time, it's worth it for me.
What's the challenging part about tour managing?
Dealing with people or artists.
It's the artist. Talk to me. How can the artist? How are we the challenging ones?
Well, some artists rightfully can be divas, and some of them have the right to be divas. But some of them haven't made it to diva status, and they're being divas. You know, as a tour manager, you're a babysitter for everybody on the road. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like if it's time to go, everybody's supposed to be on the bus. We shouldn't be waiting for the drummer. The drummer, not the artist. We're gonna wait for the artist, but we're not waiting on the drummer. The drummer gonna get left.
Yeah. And so with you, Baritone, winning the Grammys and things of that sort, have you toured as your own artist? What are you doing now? Are you doing background still? Are you writing? Are you front and center as an artist? What's going on right now?
Thank you for asking us, so sweet of you.
Oh, of course.
I am still doing background vocal touring.
Okay.
However, I am working on my own music now as an artist. I cling to the development part, you know, because I'm like, you know what? There's some things you're a little rusty at. You need to kind of like make sure that you're really honing this craft as an artist itself, so that when you do present yourself, you're an artist for real, and not just, the background singer that just pulled up and, you know, okay, I want to come to the forefront now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I am still doing tours for background vocalists, as a background vocalist. And yes, I'm working on my own music right now.
I love that. Congratulations. So what do you think is the most important when it comes to developing your art? What's the most important? Is it vocal lessons? Is it working out so you can have the endurance to be on the stage? Is it your penmanship? What's the most important thing when it comes to artist development?
Yeah, health. Listen, as I get older, I'm just like, listen, I need to be healthy.
Yeah.
You know, the stamina, being on stage for an hour and a half, 2 hours, doing your own whole show. It's different. It's different as a background vocalist. Obviously, depending on the artist, right? It requires different things. The music is going to require different things as a singer. But the artist, you know, it's just a different ball game when you're out there in front trying to maintain the crowd for 2 hours or an hour and a half. That's why some executives, they'll say, hey, okay, cool, you're an artist, but do you have any music? Or do you have a set that you can do on your own? Do you have your own music that you can do on your own? Yeah. Can you carry the crowd? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's my journey right now.
Yeah, I think those are some important things that you hit. Carrying the crowd, choosing the song selection, choosing when to be slow, when to be upbeat. So I want to pass the torch to you, Steve-O, and I want to ask, as a tour manager, seeing these shows and these productions happen in real time, being a part of them, and then also watching them, what do you think are the most important aspects when it comes to the delivery of the show?
Well, first, I think everybody got to be on time. I think the lineup has to be good. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of shows. If it's more than 4 people performing, it's too much for me. You know what I'm saying? I like opener. You know what I mean? Somebody in the middle, and then put the main person on. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Because a lot of times people put together shows and stuff, and they don't think about the consumer experience. You know what I'm saying? Because they just trying to, put so many people on and stuff like that. So I just think that flow and making sure that the right artists on the right shows or the right tours, I think that's what we should do. What makes more sense musically and for the customer.
Do you think, like, say, okay, I got a headlining rap artist. Should an R&B artist be anywhere in there, or should you stick with rap? Or vice versa? Do you believe in mixing the genres, or should we stay segregated?
Well, do they have songs together?
No.
Is the rapper a melodic rapper?
Maybe. Yeah.
So maybe. Okay. There's things to think about that makes it make sense.
Yeah.
Will that R&B singer go first? And will there be somebody after them? And then the main artist? Or will they be direct support? It's those type of thoughts that you got to put in your head, because you can't just put somebody with somebody, because that's how people get over. You know what I mean? And then you put them on too late. You know what I mean? Everybody's waiting to see the main act. And if the support goes on too late, they don't even want to see the support no more. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, hurry up. You know what I mean?
Okay, so show is happening. Doors open at 7. The DJ may rock about an hour. Do you agree with just that hour waiting and then boom, the show starts happening? Or when you're putting together these shows, what do you see is the winning recipe as far as?
Well, most shows is going to be contracted that like sound has to start at a certain time.
Okay.
Like the show has to start at a certain time. So
Okay.
if the doors are at 7, usually the show has to start at 8.
Okay.
You can either do house music for that hour, or you can have a DJ. You know what I mean? But the thing is, if the doors just open at 7, you want the opening act to perform in front of some people. So you have to hope that at least maybe 30-40% of the people that bought tickets are inside the building within that hour. You know what I mean? That way the opening act is actually performing in front of the crowd.
In front of the crowd. That makes sense. Okay. This is some good conversation. I really like it. I love that you're hitting on the details of the tours. I love that we're getting to know the insides and the twists and turns of talking about Grammys and how to get into that, and songwriting and the legalities. My last question, and I can turn it to the people. What's something in the industry that's happening right now that you feel like we are not talking about enough, or that you feel like could use some tweaks and some changes?
Something that can use some tweaks and some changes. As far as the urban side, I just think the content, you know what I mean? I think the content needs to be tweaked a little bit.
And when you say the content, the lyrics, the content that we're putting out visually?
All together, mainly the lyrics, you know what I mean? Because if the lyrics change, the videos will change, et cetera, everything else will change, you know what I mean? And I think that there's ways that people can get the same emotion out without using the words that they're using, if that makes sense.
I seen somebody make a post and they were saying something like, singers aren't singing in cursive anymore. Like, it's just like the lyricists aren't talking in a language where it's like, oh, I know what you was talking. Like SWV rain down on me. You know, we thought we were talking about some raindrops. You get old, you're like, So I think even just, and it doesn't always have to be sexual, but if I'm understanding what you're talking about, a lot of the lyrics nowadays are very sexually explicit, and I think it's like, okay, just kind of make it sexy for me in a way to where it's not so explicit and
exactly. Back in the day, Luther Vandross could say, I want to touch you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it gets a woman the same, it makes a certain reaction. You know what I'm saying? A reaction that you're not going to get if you say, I want to fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you gotta figure out what kind of balance we use. You know what I'm saying?
I also heard an artist talk about that same topic because someone said that they were all these women, and I don't mean to bash on women, we're just in this conversation that women are just talking about if you ain't got a bag, then you can't touch me, you can't sleep with me, you can't do anything if you ain't got the money. And so guys are saying that that's all women, are wanting to talk about in the lyrics. And the artist's response was, well, this is what people want to hear. So a lot of it is on the consumers, but as artists, we do have that ability to kind of change the room. So do you think if we just start talking different, then they'll start listening different? Or, because Cardi B said the same thing too, when she came out with that Be Careful song. They was like, I don't want to hear this, I want to hear you talk nasty.
But that was a great song.
It was a great song. I love that song.
Great production.
Yeah, it was really good. So is it on us to kind of just start talking differently, or do we got the consumers to blame a little bit too?
I think it's the consumers, and I think it's the people that created. I think a lot of the problem is the consumers started creating music.
Oh, that's good.
So I think that's a lot of the problem. It's not really a lot of artists making the music no more. It's a lot of consumers trying to make music. You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying right now, it's a lot of women saying, you don't got the bag, you don't got the bag, but back in KC and JoJo days, they just, take my money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's like the difference, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that content and the context. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. I love that. Do you have something to
Honestly,
add or to talk about what we don't talk about?
I would just say the same. I feel like when the consumer starts to create, they're not creating from the same space that an artist is creating from. And it's no shade at all. Like, because people say, okay, cool, hey, listen, raise up your children, give them some sort of creative arts, right? Like, cool, yeah, they need to be engulfed in creative arts. However, if that's not really your gift, it's a difference, right? It's a difference between you being a dope singer because you're naturally dope at singing, you know what I mean, and writing songs, versus somebody who's like coming around the house and they're just enjoying music, you know what I mean? It just taints the gifting of it all, so to speak, you know what I mean? So yeah,
I agree. Okay, last question. What's your process? Before you create, you have some music, you have a spirit that's ready to create some art. What's your process?
That looks different depending on the day and the mood, right? For me at least, right? Sometimes it could be some music playing, like an instrumental or whatever. Other times it'll be like I'll be walking down the street and I'll hear something in my head and I'm just like, let me just pull out my phone and do a voice memo or whatever, right? Other times I'll challenge myself to just start writing without anything that's coming to me in the moment.
No music,
so,
nothing?
No music, nothing.
Is that easier or harder? Well, you said you challenge yourself. So
yeah, I feel like it's a little bit, it depends on my mood. It depends on what's going on in my current circumstances, whatever is going on in life at the moment, the day, the season, whatever it is, it really varies. So I found it to be easy sometimes, where it's like, okay, I already have music to kind of glean from, and then I found it to be a little bit difficult on other days. So for me, it just varies. Yeah.
We're artists. We're just flowing beings. That's how it works. So, Stephen, what's your process when you're either engineer? Do you still engineer?
Yeah, I still engineer. I still got a studio.
Okay, so what's your process when you're creating? How do you get in that mood?
When I'm creating, when I'm going to the studio to create something for myself, I like to have conversations.
Okay.
So before I play any type of music or anything, I want to talk to who I'm gonna be creating with, see where their mind is at. Because if they're in a happy mood, I don't want to put them in a sad mood because we're not gonna have a good sad summer. You know what I mean? So whatever mood they're in, we're talking about life or whatever, that's what we're gonna put on the record. You know what I mean? So we're not gonna go against the grain of what's already, what the energy already is. You know what I mean?
So before we wrap it up, do we have anyone that wants to ask any questions to either of the two beautiful artists that we have here?
Hi, thank y'all so much for being here. I just wanted to know who's your favorite artist.
Who's your favorite artist to work with?
Alright, so listen. Right now I sing background for Gloria Gaynor, okay? And she's the lady that sings I Will Survive, if you don't know. So, one thing I'm gonna say about old money. They pay on time. They pay on time. They're really sweet usually, you know? So yeah, that would be my favorite person to work with right now.
For me, I would have to say Scarface just because in the rap world, he's like every rapper's favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying? And working with him, you learn so much because he's an actual music head. You know what I'm saying? He knows rock and roll. He knows all the old school music. You know what I'm saying? So just the conversations in the studio are different than a lot of the artists. You know what I'm saying? So I have to say Scarface for me.
That's good. Thank you for that question. Anybody have one?
Hi, how you doing? I'm from New York.
Hey, New York.
Jamaica, Queens.
Hey, get busy.
I actually have two questions. My first question was when you guys talked about building your catalog. what suggestions do you have for like building a catalog and putting it out? Because you know, a lot of artists, they say the song that they didn't think was gonna get any traction ended up being like their #1 record. So what suggestions would you have for that?
I was gonna say this earlier when she was talking about making things perfect and stuff like that. Everybody said they work so hard on this one song, and it's usually not that one song that boosts their career. Usually everybody's song that boosts their career is a song where they're like, oh, I was just playing around. Oh, I was drunk and I just did this. And that happened to be the song. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we aren't able to pick that. You know what I'm saying? We can work as hard as we want on anything, but we have to give our heart to the world, and the world is going to tell us what it is, but we have to give it to them. We can't hold it.
I would say the same thing. That's it. Like literally.
Also, well, mainly for you, because I know you say you write music, but you are also like trying to create your craft for your own solo. I just wanted to know, like, when do you think you'll be ready? Because you have artists like Neo, Money Long, who wrote for so long, and then they came out. Also, The Dream too, and you know their albums were fires as well. So, when do you think you feel like is the right time for you?
I feel like you have to kind of feel it out. Feel out what's going on around you. I don't know their stories all the way through. I know that they've been in the game for a long time, right? Like they've been putting in their work, right? Oh, as a matter of fact, I just saw an interview with Money Long, and she said just that. She said she kind of like isolated. It came to like a point where she was somewhere. I think she said something about she was in a studio session with I think Nelly Furtado and Pharrell. And Pharrell kind of said something to her like, you know, I think that you just as big as I am. So if you don't think that about yourself, then you know it is what it is. You might want to reconsider. And so the point that she was making was that it really kind of like pricked her in her heart. Like, yo, wait a minute, what's going on? She needed to steal away and be like, yo, I need to reconsider who I am as an artist, who I am as a person, and what I want to do. She said she took 6 months. That's when she turned into Money Long. She wasn't, within that 6 months, she fired everybody on her team, or she just kind of like laid low and she went and figured out who she wanted to be. And as an artist, as a writer, just who she was as a person, what her purpose was. And then that's when 6 months later, she came out and she was like, okay, now I'm Money Long as an artist. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, I would say that it's really dependent upon what you're feeling about your situation. Again, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, so I legit, shout out to everybody who's a believer in Jesus Christ. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? So for me, I'll feel out of a situation, and depending on the flow, one time after the Grammy, right, I knew there was something I was supposed to do, right? It was like a feeling. I was like, yo, I need to like step out. Like I need to step out of this background singing, you know, just really give myself an opportunity to, you know, show people what I'm made of or show people what I do. Because a lot of people in New York, they know Baritone can sing, they know she does background vocals, she travels a lot, but they didn't know that I wanted to be an artist. And I've always wanted to be an artist since I was a little girl, you know what I mean? So to my point, it was like sometimes when you feel it, you feel like, yo, there's a shift that's happening, you gotta go with that shift. Don't wait and think about it too long because you'll overthink it and then you'll be 2 years later down the line, you still haven't put out any music because you're waiting on, you know, to build up your catalog so it's perfect. So really, when you feel that shift, go with that shift and ride that wave.
Hello. I have a question for you guys. You spoke about working for Scarface and also working for Gloria Gaynor. What lessons have you learned watching them directly or indirectly that you've incorporated into your own brand? It could be good, bad, it could be anything that you've either witnessed and you've internalized it for yourself or something that you've learned directly from that artist that you work for.
Just something real quick and short coming from Scarface is we were in the studio and he said something that made a lot of sense. And you always want to get as close to the original as possible. You know what I mean? Making music, a lot of people use samples, a lot of people are remaking things, but you always want to get as close to the original as possible because you'll never never get better than the original, but always get as close as you can to the original.
I would say resilience and being good to the people that you work with. That makes a big of a deal for me, because sometimes you'll come onto teams and they'll be like, oh, okay, cool, you've been with them for 2 years, now you're family, and then they kind of like stiff you or they do something and you're like, wait a minute, hold up, I thought we was family. But with her in particular, and a few others, I've learned just being resilient, being persistent. And in the game, you'll hear a bunch of people say, hey, you want to be successful? You got to be consistent and persistent, you know what I mean? So they haven't been wrong yet, so.
Yeah, consistency is key, you know what I'm saying? And I think on my side, I've always done music, you know what I'm saying? Something in music, you know, whether it was engineering live or whatever, I've always been around with music. And everybody knows that you can call me, we can do some music. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to sell them no electricity. I'm not selling them life insurance, nothing. So you calling me, it's music. You know what I'm saying? So
He over here talking about me and my many jobs over the years. You know, we gotta hustle for this.
A lot of artists think that success is one thing, that is being on TV and traveling the world. Can you tell us how you define success and when you knew you were successful at what it is that you do? And it's success for yourself, not for anybody else.
For me, when I think about success, it was just like, I still don't know if I'm quote unquote successful, but my idea of success is just me being able to pay all my bills and everything off of music. You know what I'm saying? Something that started off just as a love and a hobby. You know what I mean? So that's success to me. I ain't got to be on TV. I don't have to be on big tours or nothing like that. It's just all about doing what I love, and that what I love is providing for the people around me. You know what I mean?
For me, success was like the same thing. Can I do music full time and support myself, pay my rent? You know what I mean? Can I support myself? Can I buy food? Can I get gas? Can I just pay all of my monthly expenses with music? And yes, you can. Like, we know it can be an uphill battle sometimes, but yes, it's definitely doable. So anyone who has children, or if you yourself are considering pursuing music as a career, but you wasn't 100% sure, it's definitely doable. It's just about how you navigate it and how you pursue it. So yes, that's what success is for me. You're welcome.
How y'all doing? I'm Sludge Bun. I'm an artist from the north side of Houston. I just wanted to ask y'all, what's your favorite part about the creative process of the song? And also a quote that you would give an artist on the ground right now.
I don't have a quote, but okay, the favorite part of my creative process is coming up with dope melodies. For me, it's like, if there's a melody that I'll think of or I'll sing and I'm like, ooh, that feels really good. You know what I mean? It's different, you know, it's kind of cool. You keep it simple sometimes, but other times it's kind of like, even if it's simple, it's like, yo, is this gonna hit? It's like you feel it within yourself, like this is gonna affect people. And that's what's one of my things from a little girl. I'm like, oh, I want to sound like Whitney Houston. I want to make people feel good when they hear my voice, or like just have the effect of impacting someone positively. You know what I mean? When they make them feel warm. You know, that sounds really cliche, but it's so true. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for real. You know? All right, cool.
I think for me, it's kind of like the same thing. It's that moment. It's like that's it moment. Like that's the most in the studio. That's the moment for me. Is like that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I mean? That moment right there is the moment that I live for. As far as like a quote or anything like that, I don't really have no quotes. The main thing that I would tell anybody on the grind, if you're trying to be a recording artist or if you're trying to be a performing artist, two separate things. You know what I'm saying? But if you're trying to be a recording artist, go to the studio. When you don't know what to do, go to the studio. You know what I'm saying? If you're hungry, get some food at the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go to the studio. You know what I mean? That's all I would say. You know what I mean? So,
go to the studio. Look, she said that's a new song. Go to the studio. We have any more questions in the audience? No. Steve, for anybody that want to go to the studio, is your studio open for artists?
Yeah, it's open.
Yeah? How can we get in contact with you to book a studio session?
You go to imixhouston.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, which is at blackcardsteveo, BlackCardSteveo. That's how you can do that.
And Baritone, how can we keep in contact with you and see what you got going on?
You can find me on Instagram as well at the letters URGRL Baritone. So the girl Baritone.
Baritone and Steve, thank you so much for coming to sit down with me
Please
for what we
welcome.
don't talk about in the music industry right here in Houston. I'm so excited. This was such a good conversation. If you learned anything from tonight's conversation, can you just clap, give a little woo woo?
Woo, woo.